The cold silence of space wrapped around Ethan Cole like a heavy blanket. He opened his eyes and found himself standing in the center of a massive chamber. Bright lights burned above him, and thousands of strange alien eyes stared down from the shadows. The walls were made of metal, glowing with patterns that looked alive. Ethan's heart raced. The last thing he remembered was walking in a crowded alien marketplace. Now he was in what looked like a courtroom. A voice shook the air. Deep, powerful, angry. "You touched my daughters." The sound rolled through the chamber, echoing like thunder. Ethan turned his head and saw the speaker. A giant alien sat on a throne made of shining black stone. His skin was dark silver and his eyes glowed like blue fire. He wore heavy armor and his presence made the whole room feel smaller. "You touched them," the alien repeated. "And by Galactic Law, there is no escape now. You are their husband." Gasps filled the chamber. Rows of alien soldiers lifted their weapons. Strange creatures whispered in voices Ethan could not understand. The words hit Ethan like a blade. Husband, daughters? What was this madness? "I don't even know who your daughters are," Ethan shouted. His voice cracked. He could hear the fear inside it. The alien judge narrowed his burning eyes. "Ignorance does not change the law." From the side of the throne, two figures stepped forward. Ethan's eyes widened. They were tall, elegant, and terrifying. Two alien women, their faces hidden behind golden masks, walked with slow, perfect steps. Their skin shimmered like crystal under the lights. The crowd fell silent as they appeared. These were no ordinary women. These were princesses. Ethan's chest tightened. Memories rushed back. Yes, he had seen them before, a market. A simple accident. He had been walking past a stall when the ground shook. One of the women had stumbled. Without thinking, Ethan had reached out and caught her before she fell. His hand had brushed against her arm. It had been nothing. Just a reflex, but now it seemed that one touch had chained him forever. The larger princess lifted her mask. Her face was sharp, her eyes glowing violet. She looked at Ethan as if he were prey. "Yes, this is the human. The law is clear." The second princess kept her mask on, but Ethan could feel her gaze. A strange silence passed between them, heavy and unreadable. Ethan tried to breathe, but the air felt heavy. "Wait, you don't understand. I didn't mean anything. I was just helping." The judge's voice cut through his words. "The law of the stars does not bend for humans. You touched the royal daughters of House Valorian. Now you belong to them." The chamber shook as the crowd shouted in unison, "Bound by law! Bound by law!" Ethan's hands trembled. His legs felt weak. He was alone, a single human surrounded by thousands of alien beings. He wanted to run, but there was nowhere to go. He whispered to himself, This can't be real." But it was real. The chains around his wrists told him so. Heavy, glowing restraints held him in place. They burned like fire when he pulled against them. "Bring the human forward," the judge commanded. Two alien guards, towering and armored, dragged Ethan toward the throne. The floor beneath his feet glowed with strange symbols as he walked. Every step echoed like a hammer. The judge leaned closer. His voice dropped, colder now, almost like ice. "Do you know what happens if you refuse this bond, human?" Ethan shook his head. His throat was dry. He could not find his words. The judge smiled, and it was the cruelest smile Ethan had ever seen. "Refusal means death. Instant death. There is no second chance," the crowd roared. The walls shook. Ethan felt the sound in his bones. He looked at the princesses. The first one stared at him with cold eyes. The second tilted her head, studying him carefully, almost curiously. For a moment, Ethan thought he saw something else behind that mask, something hidden. But the truth crashed down on him. He was trapped. His simple act of kindness in a marketplace had turned into a nightmare. He was not a guest. He was not free. He was a husband by force. By alien law, the chamber grew quiet again. The judge raised his hand and the lights dimmed. "This court declares the human Ethan Cole, husband of the royal daughters of House Valorian." Chains glowed brighter. The symbols on the floor pulsed with power. The princesses stepped closer, and Ethan realized something far worse than death. This was not just about marriage, this was about power, and he had no idea what he had just walked into. The law of the stars. The chamber was silent again, but the silence was worse than noise. Ethan stood in chains, staring at the glowing floor beneath his feet. He felt like the universe itself had turned against him. The alien judge leaned back on his throne. His armor caught the light, and for a moment he looked less like a ruler and more like a living weapon. "Human," the judge said, his voice low and heavy. "You stand in the court of stars. Here, there is only one truth, the law of the stars. It is older than your world. It is older than your species. And it does not forgive." The words hung in the air like a blade. Ethan swallowed hard. Law of the stars? I don't even know what that means. The judge's eyes narrowed, glowing brighter. "Then listen, human. Listen well, for it will be the last story you ever hear, if you defy us." The lights in the chamber dimmed. The walls shimmered like water and images appeared in the air. Ethan blinked. The court was showing him history. He saw stars burning in black space. He saw alien armies clashing with fire and steel. He saw kings, queens, and emperors rise and fall. And in every story the same words echoed. "Touch a daughter of royal blood, and you are bound." The judge's voice thundered over the visions. "Long ago, before your Earth knew fire, the first kings fought wars that shattered galaxies. Whole races were wiped from existence. Do you know why, human?" Ethan shook his head, though the chains bit deeper into his skin. Because of love. Because of betrayal. Because kings and queens took what was not theirs. Daughters were stolen, promises broken, alliances shattered. The stars burned for centuries, the images shifted. Planets exploding, ships torn apart, screams that echoed across space. The judge leaned forward, his face close now, eyes blazing like suns. So the rulers of the stars made a law. A sacred law. Touch the royal daughters and you are bound forever. No escape, no refusal. Touch is claim. Claim is marriage. "Marriage is binding," the crowd shouted again. "Binding! Binding, binding!" Ethan's heart pounded. His breath came fast. But it was an accident. "I didn't mean—" The judge's roar shook the floor. Intent does not matter. Accident does not matter. Only the touch matters. That is the law of the stars. And it has kept peace for 10,000 years. Ethan's stomach twisted. 10,000 years of law, and now he was caught in it. The golden-masked princess stepped closer. Her voice was calm, but it cut through the air like a blade. "The law is clear, human. You saved me in the market. Your hand touched mine. Now you are mine, and my sister's." Ethan stared at her, his mouth dry. He saw no kindness in her violet eyes. Only something cold. Something dangerous, but the other princess, the one who had not removed her mask, shifted slightly. She did not speak. She only watched him with a strange stillness. Ethan felt her gaze like a shadow across his soul. The judge raised his hand again and the visions faded. The chamber brightened. "Do you see now, human? This law is greater than you. Greater than your people. Your life belongs to the daughters of House Valorian. Their honor is your honor. Their enemies are your enemies. Their war is now your war." The words slammed into Ethan like a hammer. Their war? He looked around the chamber. Every alien eye was locked on him. Soldiers, nobles, servants. They all watched, waiting for his answer. Ethan shook his head, fighting the panic rising in his chest. No, this isn't right. I'm not part of your empire. I never asked for this." The judge's smile was slow and cruel. "Then you will die here, human. And your death will please the law as much as your marriage." The soldiers raised their weapons again. Blades gleamed. Guns hummed. The crowd cheered for blood. Ethan's pulse thundered in his ears. He had two choices, death or chains. The masked princess finally spoke. Her voice was soft, almost too soft for the chamber, yet every alien fell silent to hear her words. "Father," she said, "let the human live. The law has chosen him. If he dies, the law dies with him, and then, so does the peace." The judge turned to her, his fiery eyes narrowing. A long silence followed. Then slowly he nodded. "Very well," he said. "The human will live, but his life is not his own." The chains around Ethan's wrists tightened. The glowing marks on the floor surged with new energy, climbing his body like fire. He screamed as the light seared into his skin. When it faded, strange symbols burned faintly on his arms. The judge spoke again, his voice echoing like thunder. "The bond is sealed. The human belongs to the daughters. He is their husband by law, and he will serve them until the stars themselves die." The crowd erupted into cheers and chants. "Bound by law! Bound by law!" Ethan collapsed to his knees, gasping for breath. His arms burned where the symbols glowed. He looked up at the princesses. One stared with cold triumph, the other with unreadable silence. And Ethan realized something terrifying. This was no accident. The daughters had wanted this. And now, he was trapped in their war. Ethan's confusion. The chains cut into Ethan's wrists as he was dragged from the courtroom. The glowing marks on his arms pulsed like fire under his skin, each beat syncing with his heart. The crowd's chants of "bound by law" still echoed in his head. But louder than the crowd was a single question. Why me? He stumbled as the alien guards shoved him down a corridor. The walls glowed with strange runes. The air smelled sharp, metallic, alive. Every step took him deeper into the alien palace, farther from everything human. The golden-masked princess walked ahead with her sister. Their movements were graceful but cold, like predators leading prey into a cage. Ethan's chest tightened. He tried to speak, but his voice cracked. "I didn't mean to touch you," he said. "It was an accident." "Why do this to me?" The larger princess turned her head slightly, her violet eyes glowing. "Because law is law, and law does not ask for meaning." Her words were sharp, final, but the masked sister glanced back at him. For a moment, her eyes hidden behind the mask seemed softer, almost human. Then she turned away without a word. Ethan's mind spun. None of this made sense. Why would two powerful princesses of a galactic empire care about a single human? Why not simply kill him and move on? Why defend him in court? The questions burned in his head, and then, suddenly, memories struck him like lightning. He was back in the alien marketplace. The air had smelled of spice and smoke. Dozens of alien voices called out, selling food, weapons, strange glowing crystals. Ethan had been wandering, lost, looking for a ship mechanic. That was when he saw her, the princess in gold, though he didn't know it at the time. She had been at a stall, her mask in place, her posture regal but tired. Her sister stood close by. They looked out of place, too fine for the chaos of the market. Then it happened. A tremor shook the ground. Someone shouted. The stall collapsed. One of the princesses slipped. Without thinking, Ethan had reached out. His hand caught her wrist. Her skin was strange, smooth, cool, glowing faintly. He pulled her upright. Their eyes met for only a second, and in that second, he had felt something. Not love, not desire. Something else. Like her touch sent a spark through his body, like the universe itself noticed. Then guards rushed in. The moment ended, and Ethan walked away, not knowing his life had already been claimed. The memory shattered, and he was back in the corridor, dragged forward by guards. His head spun. Was that why? Was the law real? Or had they chosen him for something else? The doors ahead opened, revealing a vast chamber. It was not a bedroom, not a prison. It was something worse. The walls were covered in star maps, glowing lines connecting thousands of systems. In the center, a hologram flickered to life, showing fleets of ships, armies moving like shadows across space. A war map. Ethan's breath caught. His legs nearly gave out. The princess in gold turned to him. Her voice was cold, commanding. "You ask why, human? This is why. Our empire stands at the edge of war. And now, so do you." Ethan shook his head, the chains rattling. No, this isn't my fight. I didn't ask for this. I don't care about your empire or your war." The masked princess stepped closer, silent. Then she spoke in a voice softer than her sister's, but filled with weight. "It does not matter what you want. The bond is sealed. Our blood is in your veins now, and your fate is tied to ours." Ethan froze. Her words cut through him like ice. "Our blood is in your veins." He looked at his arms. The glowing marks burned brighter. His skin felt hot.
His body was not the same.
What did you do to me?" His voice was barely a whisper. The princess in gold smiled faintly, but it was not a kind smile. "We did nothing. The law did everything. When you touched us, the bond awakened. It cannot be undone. You are not human alone anymore." Ethan's stomach twisted. His breath came fast. Something inside him was changing, something he could not stop. His body shook. The masked princess stepped closer. She placed a hand gently on his shoulder. He flinched, but she did not move away. "You feel it, don't you?" she whispered. "The bond. The stars inside you. That is why we chose you." Her words stabbed through the confusion. Ethan's eyes widened. "Chose me?" The truth hit him like fire. This was not an accident. The fall in the marketplace, the touch, the law, it was all a trap. A plan. They had wanted him from the beginning, but why? The guard shoved him forward again. The chamber doors slammed shut behind them, and Ethan realized something far worse than chains, worse than law, worse than death. The princesses didn't just want a husband, they wanted a weapon, and that weapon was him, the daughter's hidden agenda. The war chamber glowed with maps of stars and fleets. Ethan stood in the center, still in chains, while the two alien princesses circled him like hunters around prey. He could feel their eyes on him. The golden one, sharp and cold, studied him with the precision of a blade. The masked one, silent and unreadable, watched him as if she saw more than anyone else could. Ethan's skin still burned where the glowing marks pulsed on his arms. His body felt wrong, too heavy, too alive, like something was moving inside him. Finally, the golden princess spoke. "Human, you still do not understand why you are here." Ethan forced his voice through dry lips. "Because of your law. Because I touched you." Her laugh was low and cruel. "The law? The law is only the surface. A tool, a mask. We needed you bound and the law gave us the chain." Ethan's stomach dropped. "So it wasn't an accident. You planned this," the golden one smiled. "Of course. Do you think the royal daughters of House Valorian walk unguarded into a filthy market by mistake? Do you think we stumble like common creatures? No, human. We chose you. We let you catch us. And the law did the rest." The word struck Ethan like a blade. His knees felt weak. "Why me?" The masked princess stepped closer. Her voice was soft, but it carried across the chamber. "Because you are human." Ethan blinked. "What does that even mean?" The golden one's eyes burned violet. "Your kind should not even be in the stars. And yet you are. Weak in body, but strong in ways you cannot see. There is something in you humans. Something the old empires cannot fight, cannot copy. You are unpredictable. You are dangerous. And that makes you useful." Ethan shook his head, his chains rattling. "I'm no soldier. I'm nobody. You made a mistake." The golden princess leaned close. "No mistake. The bond proves it. Look at your arms. Look at the fire under your skin. That power is ours now. And through us. It will be yours." Ethan looked down. The glowing marks were spreading, crawling up his veins like living light. He tried to fight it, but the energy only grew stronger. The masked princess touched his arm gently, her hand cool against the burning symbols. For a moment, the fire calmed. She whispered, "Do not resist. The bond will break you if you fight. It was not made for refusal." Her words sank deep into Ethan's bones. He hated them. He hated how calm she sounded. But part of him knew she was right. The golden one turned back to the star map. She waved her hand and the glowing lines shifted. Fleets moved, planets lit up, armies spread across the stars. "Look, human," she said. "Our enemies rise from the dark edges of the galaxy. The Khazar swarm. They come with fire and hunger. They have broken empires greater than ours. Soon they will come for us. And when they do, every world under our banner will burn." Ethan stared at the map. Planets disappeared, consumed by swarms of black ships. The sight twisted his stomach. "And what does this have to do with me?" he asked, his voice hard now. The golden princess smiled slowly. "There is an ancient weapon, a relic from before the law of the stars. It was made by a race long dead. The weapon is locked, sealed to all who carry our blood. But humans can open it, humans can wield it," the masked princess whispered. "And now, because of the bond, you are tied to us. Half human, half royal blood. You alone can awaken it." Ethan's breath caught. He staggered back, shaking his head. No, I won't be your weapon. I won't fight your war." The golden princess's eyes turned cold as ice. "Then you will die here, and your death will doom not only us but your own kind. Do you think the Khazar will stop at our borders? When they reach Earth, when they devour your people, remember this choice." The words sliced through Ethan's chest. His breath came fast, shallow. He thought of Earth, his home, far away, fragile. Could the swarm really reach it? The masked princess stepped close again. Her voice was softer than her sister's, almost like a secret. "We did not choose you only for the weapon. We chose you because the law would trap you. You cannot escape. But listen well, human, sometimes a prison can be a shield. Sometimes chains are the only way to survive." Ethan's mind spun. Her words made no sense. Or maybe they did, and he was too terrified to see it. The golden princess waved her hand and the star map faded. Darkness swallowed the chamber again. Only the burning symbols on Ethan's arms lit the air. "You are bound," she said. "You are ours, And soon the stars themselves will bow or burn because of you. The guard stepped forward, dragging Ethan away again. The doors closed behind him with a final echoing boom. And in that moment, Ethan understood the truth. The daughters didn't want love. They didn't want a husband. They wanted control. They wanted a weapon. And he was already becoming it. The escape attempt, the cell was dark. Cold metal walls pressed close on every side, humming with alien energy. Ethan sat on the floor, his arms wrapped around himself, staring at the glowing marks still crawling under his skin. He hated them. He hated the way they pulsed with life, as if they owned him now. The guards had left him there hours ago, alone, but never truly alone. He could feel the bond pulling at him, like invisible chains linking him to the princesses. He felt their presence in his mind, faint but constant, as if their shadows followed his every thought. Ethan gritted his teeth. I won't be their weapon. I won't. The silence broke with a low hiss. The cell door opened. A guard stepped in, massive and armored. He carried a plate of strange food, glowing faintly. Without a word, he set it on the floor and turned his back. That was the moment Ethan had been waiting for. With sudden speed, Ethan lunged. The chains around his wrists sparked, but he ignored the pain. He slammed into the guard, knocking him against the wall. The tray crashed to the floor. The guard roared, swinging a blade, but Ethan grabbed the weapon with both hands. The chains burned hotter, but the glowing marks on his arms flared, and strength surged through him. With a shout, he twisted the blade free and drove his fist into the guard's helmet. The alien collapsed, unmoving. Ethan's chest heaved. His heart pounded. He had done it. He had taken down one of them, but his arms still glowed, brighter than before. The bond was feeding him, giving him strength. Every beat of his heart made the power stronger. He pushed the thought away. He didn't care. All that mattered was escape. Ethan tore the guard's weapon from his grip and rushed into the corridor. The palace was endless, filled with glowing halls and shifting walls. He ran blindly, his footsteps echoing. His breath came in sharp gasps, alarms screamed. Red lights flashed. Voices shouted in alien tongues. Ethan didn't stop. He cut through shadows, turned corners, dodged guards. The weapon in his hand felt too heavy, too strange, but the bond seemed to guide him. His strikes landed true, his steps faster than his body should allow. Still he ran. He burst into a vast chamber, and for the first time, hope sparked in his chest. A ship sat in the center, sleek and sharp, its engine glowing faintly. It was small enough for him to fly. Freedom, Ethan's legs carried him forward. He sprinted up the ramp, slammed his hand onto the controls. The ship hummed to life. Then he froze. The glowing marks on his arms spread across the console like fire, merging with the ship's systems. The controls locked under his hands. The ship itself pulsed with the same light that burned in his veins. No, 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 Ethan shouted, slamming the controls. The doors of the chamber opened. Soldiers flooded in, weapons raised. Behind them, the princesses stepped forward. The golden one, sharp and cruel, and the masked one, silent as ever. Ethan's blood turned cold. The golden princess's voice cut across the chaos. You cannot escape, human. The bond is not only in you, it is in everything you touch. Even our ships. Even our walls. The masked princess's voice followed, softer yet heavier with truth. The bond is not a chain of iron. It is a chain of blood and soul. You will never run far from us. Ethan's chest heaved. He looked down at the console, glowing under his hands. He wanted to scream. The ship itself was betraying him. The soldiers advanced. The golden princess raised her hand. Seize him. Ethan gripped the weapon tighter. His mind screamed at him to fight, to cut his way free, to run until there was no more running left. But before he could move, the marks on his arms exploded with light. The weapon in his hands disintegrated. His body locked, paralyzed by the bond. He fell to his knees, gasping as the power overwhelmed him. The golden princess stepped onto the ramp, her eyes gleaming with triumph. You see now, human? The more you resist, the stronger the bond becomes. Your defiance only feeds it. The masked princess followed, her steps quieter. She stopped just in front of Ethan, her masked face tilted down at him. Her voice was almost a whisper. You cannot escape, Ethan Cole, not from us, not from yourself. Ethan's breath shook. His vision blurred. His body trembled under the weight of the bond. The soldiers dragged him from the ship, back into the prison of the palace. The chamber doors closed behind him with a sound like the end of hope. For a long moment, there was only silence. Then Ethan understood. Escape was impossible. And the worst part wasn't that he was trapped. The worst part was that the bond inside him was growing stronger every time he fought it. He wasn't just their prisoner anymore. He was becoming theirs. The Galactic War secret. The chamber was vast, larger than any Ethan had seen before. Its walls stretched high, covered in carvings that glowed faintly, like old scars in stone. This was no prison now. This was something older, something sacred. The guards pushed Ethan forward, his arms still glowing with the cursed marks. He stumbled, but the bond pulled him onward. He could feel the presence of the princesses behind him, watching, guiding, controlling. At the center of the chamber stood a platform. Upon it floated a massive sphere, black as the void, with rivers of light running across its surface. It pulsed like a beating heart. Ethan froze. The air around the sphere pressed heavy against his chest, thick with power. It felt alive. The golden princess stepped past him, her violet eyes fixed on the sphere. Behold, human, the last weapon of the ancients, the heart of dominion. Her voice echoed in the chamber, sharp and proud, forged before the law of the stars. Built by a race long gone, consumed by their own fire. It can end fleets with a thought. It can burn worlds to ash. Ethan's stomach twisted. His voice shook. Why show me this? The masked princess finally moved forward. Her voice was low, calm, but carried a weight that made Ethan's skin crawl. Because only you can wake it. The words slammed into him like ice. He shook his head. No, I don't want this. I never asked for this. The golden princess turned sharply, her eyes blazing. Do you think we care what you want? The Khazar swarm rises at the edge of our galaxy. They devour everything, cities, planets, stars, nothing stops them. Not fleets, not fire, not law. She waved her hand. The sphere shifted and the air filled with visions again. Ethan saw it. Black ships, endless and swarming like insects. They poured over planets like locusts, stripping them to dust. He saw screaming faces, entire cities devoured in fire, whole worlds swallowed in darkness. The golden princess's voice cut like a blade. That is what comes. That is what waits for us. And for your Earth. Ethan's breath caught. His mind screamed against it, but the visions were too real, too sharp. He saw Earth's blue skies turning black, its oceans boiling, its cities burning. He saw billions swallowed by the swarm. No, he whispered. That can't happen. That won't happen. The masked princess stepped closer. Her words were softer but more deadly than her sister's. It will. Unless you stand with us. Unless you wake the heart. Ethan shook his head wildly. Why me? Why not your people? Why not your armies? The golden princess's lips curled. Because the heart is sealed. It was locked by the ancients and no blood of the stars may touch it. Only those born outside their order, only humans can wield it. But the bond was needed to tie you to us, to bind your life to our throne. Without it, even you would fail. The truth hit Ethan like fire. They hadn't just trapped him. They had engineered everything. The fall in the market, the touch, the law. All of it had been a chain leading here to this moment. Ethan's fists clenched. The marks on his arms flared, burning brighter. He could feel the heart pulling at him, calling to him like a voice in the dark. He staggered back, shaking his head. No, I won't do it. I won't be your weapon. The golden princess's eyes narrowed. Then you will doom us all. And Earth with us. The visions returned, Earth burning, his people screaming. Ethan's chest tightened. His breath came fast, uneven. He wanted to scream. He wanted to fight. But deep inside, a terrifying truth stirred. The heart wanted him. The masked princess reached out, placing her hand gently over the burning marks on his arm. For the first time, Ethan did not pull away. Her voice was a whisper, yet it filled the chamber. Listen, Ethan Cole. This bond is not only chains, it is choice, power. The ancients made the heart for someone like you, though they never knew you would come. If you refuse, the swarm will consume us all. If you accept, you may save more than just us. You may save every world touched by the stars. Ethan's vision blurred. His head spun. He looked at the heart, dark, massive, alive. He felt it calling, pulling, promising. And for the first time he wondered if this was not a prison at all, but destiny. The golden princess stepped back, her voice sharp again. Decide, human. Decide quickly, for the swarm is already moving, and when they arrive there will be no time left. The chamber fell into silence. The heart pulsed, deep and steady, like a waiting heartbeat. Ethan's arms glowed brighter and brighter, until the whole chamber shone with their light, and he realized something that chilled him to the bone. The war wasn't coming. It had already begun. The final decision. The chamber was silent except for the steady pulse of the heart of Dominion. Each beat shook the air, deep and slow, like the breathing of a sleeping giant. The glow on Ethan's arms flared with every pulse, brighter, stronger, alive. The princesses stood before him, two shadows of fate. The golden one, sharp and commanding, eyes blazing violet. The masked one, quiet and watchful, her presence colder but more mysterious. Ethan's chest heaved as he stared at the heart. His mind screamed, no, but his blood, his very bones, whispered yes. The weapon wanted him, needed him. The golden princess broke the silence. Choose, human. Bind yourself to the heart, become our blade, or refuse, and let your earth burn first. Her voice thundered like a hammer. Final. Merciless. Ethan's fists shook. You tricked me. You trapped me. You used me like a piece on your board. The golden princess smiled faintly. And still you are the only one who can win the game. Her words cut him, but before he could speak, the masked princess stepped closer. She raised her hand, and slowly she removed her mask. For the first time, Ethan saw her face. Her skin glowed faintly, softer than her sister's. Her eyes were not cold violet, but deep silver reflecting stars. And in those eyes, Ethan saw something he had not expected. Not cruelty, not triumph, fear. The masked princess spoke, her voice quiet but sharp enough to pierce the silence. Ethan Cole, you are right. We tricked you, but it was not for power alone. It was for survival. Not just ours, yours. Ethan's breath caught. She stepped closer. The swarm has already broken through the outer colonies. Worlds fall every day. We do not have time for trust. Only time for chains. The law bound you to us because it had to. But hear me. Without you, there will be nothing left to rule. No empires, no humans, no stars. Her words trembled with urgency, but also truth. Ethan could feel it. The bond hummed with her heartbeat, raw and real. The golden princess snapped her gaze toward her sister, her voice sharp. Enough, he does not need your sympathy. He needs resolve. If he is too weak, then let him die. But Ethan wasn't listening to her anymore. His eyes stayed on the silver one, and in that moment, he knew the choice was already made. He stepped toward the heart. The black sphere pulsed faster, hungrier, as his glowing arms reached out. The air vibrated, the floor cracked, the whole chamber shook as if the universe held its breath. The golden princess raised her hands in triumph. The masked one stood frozen, eyes locked on Ethan. Ethan's fingers touched the heart. The chamber exploded with light. A scream tore from his throat as fire shot through his veins. The bond surged, merging him with the weapon. Visions filled his mind, stars burning, fleets breaking, entire galaxies trembling at his touch. He saw the swarm, endless and unstoppable. He saw Earth, fragile and small, waiting to be consumed. He saw himself standing between them with the power of gods in his hands. Then the visions twisted. He saw chains wrapping tighter, the bond spreading deeper, his own humanity slipping away. The golden princess's voice rang in his mind. Yes, human, you are ours now. Our weapon, our king. But another voice cut through, softer, desperate. The silver princess, no, don't lose yourself. Remember who you are. Remember why you fight. Ethan gasped. His body trembled, caught between fire and shadow, and then he made his choice. With a roar, he forced the power outward. The heart lit up, brighter than a sun. The chains shattered. The guards screamed as the energy blasted them back. The chamber shook, walls cracking, stars flashing across the maps. The golden princess fell to her knees, eyes wide in rage. No, you were supposed to serve us. The silver princess shielded her face from the light, her voice breaking. Ethan, stop. You'll destroy yourself. Ethan stood tall, his body burning like living fire. His voice echoed with power not his own. I will fight the swarm. I will save Earth. I will save the stars. But I will never be your weapon. The heart pulsed one last time and then fused with him, vanishing into his chest. Silence fell. Ethan stood alone in the ruins of the chamber, glowing like a star. The princesses stared at him, one in fury, the other in awe. The golden one hissed, her voice venom. You fool. You cannot hold that power alone. It will consume you, the Silver One whispered, her eyes filled with both fear and hope. Or, it will make him something greater. Ethan turned toward them, his eyes now glowing with the same light as the heart. His voice was steady, strong, final. This war isn't yours anymore. It's mine. And as the echoes faded, the swarm's shadow fell across the galaxy. The real battle had only just begun.